joined by Bret Baier, who is in the Beltway, I assume today. I'm not sure. Good morning, Bret. How are you?
Good morning. Yes, sir. In the
Well,
Beltway, nation's capital.
I wanted to ask you before we get serious about debates and politics. I just had Coach Urban Meyer on. He's an old friend, and we talked a little bit about NIL and sports and stuff like that because he has a new podcast out called The Triple Option. Have you ever played golf with Urban?
I think I played in a tournament where he played, but I did not play personally with him. I know.
Okay,
him,
he's
though.
a pretty
I've
good, like you.
touch.
Like you, he knows his way around a golf course. I'd watch that one on pay-per-view. Brett, let's talk about what Martha asked me on Friday. She said, is there going to be another debate? I said, I doubt it unless Brian Fallon begs you, Martha, and Bret Baier to beg Donald Trump to do one because he isn't going to do one. He's not going to walk into another box canyon. What's the latest on this?
The latest is I actually believe, this is me talking, that the Harris campaign would do a Fox debate. It's the former president has come to the conclusion that there really shouldn't be another debate. Now, his reasoning, don't know. I always thought that it would be like a bug zapper in the backyard for the former president and that he couldn't get away from the light of 70 million viewers and that he would have to eventually, just knowing him, do it if it was on Fox and something he could agree to. I'm getting the sense from him and the campaign that they are moving past it. And it really, the holdup is not the Harris campaign and Fox. It is the former president.
Well, I am going to throw in my 2 cents. He ought to sit down if it's you and Martha, because it will be fair. It will be the same format that they used in the first two, but just
Exactly.
fair questions. And that you're no pushover, and Martha's no pushover for anyone. But it's got to be fair. And the ABC thing left such a bad taste in my mouth. I wouldn't do another network unless it was you and Martha.
Yeah, well, I hope that's the case. If it's not you, I do think it's a missed opportunity. I do know that we are offering town halls with Martha and I too, doing them, and I just think a debate format is a better deal.
Brett, I worked for Richard Nixon out of college, and he had a rule. If you're going to do TV, do live TV, because I saw they're thinking about doing back-to-back 60 Minutes interviews. That's a terrible idea. Richard Nixon refused to be edited, wouldn't do 60 Minutes. Instead, when we were promoting the new book, The Real War, he agreed to sit down live with Barbara Walters, live, on the Upper West Side of New York, and we did that for an hour. She ran out of questions. She was not well prepared, but they couldn't edit him. He was always afraid of television editing. So live, I don't know who come up with the 60 Minutes deal. That is not a good choice.
No, I mean, if you submit to their edit, you do run a risk. I mean, they've had fair interviews before, but they've also had ones where it did not go well. If you remember Leslie Stahl, etc.
Oh yeah, the walkout. I'd forgotten that. So let's turn to the campaign. Vice President Harris is going to the border today. I've been having a debate with Byron York, with David Drucker about whether that's a good idea. I know Chris Matthews' old rule is when you have a problem, hang a lantern on it. Her problem is the border. And she's going to talk about the bill that never got out of committee, never got even to the floor. What do you think about Harris going to the border? In this case, this might not be the lantern you want to hang.
I agree with you. I think it's such a vulnerability that it does draw scrutiny. It does draw light to it, and the bill only goes so far, and with the right pushback, Republicans, including the former president, could have a retort to that. In other words, there were still 5,000 per week that were being allowed in under the Senate negotiated bill. There were real holes that Republicans had a problem with in the negotiated bill, and it had not been taken care of for 3 years before the negotiations started on that bill. So, there's a lot of questions when you draw attention to it.
And Senator Cotton has been very eloquent. There was not Republican support for that bill. Jim Lankford did as well as he could, but there was no wall, and he wasn't going to embody in statute the $5,000 people a day. Brett, I want to turn to the war. I don't know by 6 o'clock tonight when you come on special report what'll have happened, but Israel hit hard yesterday, and this morning Hezbollah sent 100 more rockets, some of them into the Galilee, some of them into the West Bank, Judea and Samaria. What do you think is going to happen there today? And who do you, is Trey Yinks back there? Is Lucas there? Who's in Israel right now?
Nate Foy and Mike Tobin are on the ground. Trey is heading back. He's in New York. It is, I think, a tinderbox. It is as dangerous as it has been. And if you think about, the regional possibilities, the fact that President Biden is at the UN General Assembly this week, talking, I think he'll talk about the wish for a ceasefire. It's farther away than it has been anytime as this war increases. I think it's a really dangerous time.
I agree, and
2 days.
I will be watching tonight because I think by tonight there might be ground invasion. The 98th Division of the IDF is now on the border. That's their elite paratrooper division. That suggests to me they got a plan, and the pagers and the microphones, the walkie-talkies were all part of that. Last question, Brett. In terms of the Oprah sit-down, I keep playing clips from that. I think they thought that was a good idea, and it didn't turn out to be a good idea. What did you make of the Oprah vice president conversation?
Yeah, I think it hit one of her vulnerabilities, which was a very flowery kind of answers that took a long time. I don't think it came off that great. I do think there was this look in Oprah's eyes, like that maybe she needed to save Vice President Harris a couple of times. And I agree with you. I did not come away as a net positive. That said, I will say, Hugh, her numbers on net favorability have gone up significantly, 17 points in a short time. And there are people in independents and disaffected Republicans who somehow are getting to this place where the risk of going to the empty vessel, policy-wise, of Vice President Harris is less. And so maybe this hide-the-ball strategy is working for them.
It might be. If going to the border, though, it indicates to me contra, that maybe the Oprah thing didn't pan out and that their overnight tracking is in the wrong direction. We will know more. I sure hope Donald Trump accepts the invitation from Fox, because I believe that you and Martha are the last chance for the American people to have an actual honest-to-goodness debate, not one question on China. I still think about that. Bret Baier, thank you. We'll be watching tonight at 6 p.m. Always fun to talk to you.